Hello, I'm Jake Purches. I make lenticular prints and have done for more than 25 years. And welcome to my studio. Right, today I'm making a print for an artist who will be nameless, but I have made, well, that's upside down, that one, but you can see we're working on 3 flips here. This one is a 3-flip image, and this is printed out on my LightJet printer, which is a photographic system, and I have the processor over there. There's a big dark room in here, you see. Well, I can show you that as well, actually, if you really want to see. Not that it's very tidy, but anyway, you can see it's dark, and there's the machine that prints by laser, and then I pop the print through this door here. Anyway, we've made this print, we've pitched it up. The lens is ready to go. That's already been coated using double-sided sticky mount on my laminator. And here you can see close-up detail of this is actually the centering device that's used on the interlacing software that I have from Henri Clement. And you can see this is a 3-phase image. It's a child moving in 3 steps. The actual image itself is quite coarse, but it's made up of 20 frames, so 7, 6 and 7. Anyway, we'll mount that now. First thing I'm going to do is to bring the lens to the print to make sure it's all good. I've got 2 here, really, it's one's just a spare. I actually only need 1, so I'm going to line this up. So as you can see, if it's not aligned, it's skewed, as you can see, so we have to get this lined up so that these centering devices are on track. I don't need to be too precise right this minute because I'm going to go up the ladder and have a look at it. And you can see, well, let's come down a bit so we can see that. You can see the blue pitch bar at the top and the bottom are working nice, and also the artwork is working well. So it's just a matter of we've got to stick that down now. What I'll do is I'll mark up the amount of lens I want to use. First of all, checking that it's clean. And I should think this is probably sufficient. So I'll make a mark here. And then I'm going to cut that down. Well, I've got the lens here, so this is a 20 LPI 3D sheet from Microlens. It's a good workhorse lens, I like it. I nearly do everything with it, actually. There are kind of so-called 3D and flip lenses, but flip lenses really just cheaper lenses. You can get a very nice flip with this lens, and you get a reasonably good 3D. It's not the best, but it's reasonable. You always have to start off with a fresh blade, which we're going to get now. Incredibly, I can't buy blades off Amazon anymore because I'm not old enough, clearly. So I have to go to a hardware store for that. That's fine. But I always change them. I always buy them by the 100 so that I can change them regularly because they dull pretty quickly, really. I'll show you how I do it. So I score the lens. So just go along. I'm actually going along the groove of the lens, so that makes it fairly straightforward. Although doing this many times, obviously, you can get some practice. And what we're looking out for is a kind of ripping sound, like that. When it rips, that's usually sufficient. And then we're going to crack it along the edge of the table. Always kind of lift and put some air underneath the sheet. and then you have to lift it up and cut it like that. That's it. And that's to fight another day, that piece. Sorry, that's the piece we're going to use, and that's the one that's going to live for another day. I'll just put that here for the moment. Right. I think we're going to I'm going to use this one. No, this one probably. It's got a slight ding in it actually, but that's not the end of the world. But actually, I think we'll use this one. So I'll keep this one as a spare in case something goes wrong, which I'm not ashamed to say it can go wrong. I can never make assumptions doing this. So we're going to score. It's the back of the print here, back of the lens. So this is the laminate. I'm just going to cut about a centimetre, which is more like half an inch for you Americans. We're still on the imperial side of things. Funny enough, one of the things about doing lenticulars is it was very US based, and so even though I was brought up with metric and imperial, it's kept the imperial alive in my brain, so I haven't forgotten it. The next thing to do, put that to one side, we've got to clean the lens, clean the paper. This is a great tool which I discovered not that long ago, fun enough, but it's really brilliant. It's basically a tacky roller which you can use laminate to clean it with, and it will just pick up all the dust and prepare the paper for the stick down. And it really helps in reducing or eliminating the dust. You can't do it on the back of the laminate because you have a danger of pulling off the release liner. The fingernails are always useful, so I've got a bit here. I don't know if you can see that. Really, we want to centre it, to be honest, but so it's equal. I'll come up a bit, because it's only a small print at the end of the day. It's not going to wander off too much. It's the big prints that can cause trouble. And again, you just look left and right just to make sure that these pitch stripes should switch on and off evenly, and if they're not, it needs a little adjustment. And then we check the centering, like I showed you earlier, but this one's for real. This one's the important one, so you just check it again. Right. Okay, there's funny noises from my colleagues next door. They make loud speakers. Right. Got a bit of the strip here. Just check it once again because sometimes it can move. Right, and this is the same process if you're doing smaller prints. It's a bit easier really when you're doing smaller ones, like if you're just doing 60 LPI small prints from an inkjet printer. It's all the same, but the bigger the print, the more careful you have to be because it gets expensive if you mess up, and you end up having to salvage the lens, which can be an unforgiving job trying to peel all the laminate off. If you have to do that, I use petrol or gas or whatever you call it in America. We call it petrol, and that's very cheap solvent which will dissolve the solvent, but it's very smelly. You have to do it with the doors open. It's not nice. We trim off this edge like so, And then I lift it up, and then what I do now is I just go along the edge here, and that should be ready to go. So we're going to go over to the mounting stage now. It's going to get a bit noisy, this. So we've got the print, it's upside down at the moment, we've got the paper here. We're going to offer it up to the laminator, like so. Wrap the paper around the print around the roll, but not yet because there's a bit of tension here because of where it's stuck down. So we have to pull back a bit of this laminate. Like that, you see. Can split. You've got to be careful. That's it. And then wrap it over here. Got it now. I don't use too much pressure. Give it a bit of a blow on here, and I switch on this air bar. This is a system that sprays an even amount of air to keep everything duct free. Now, you probably won't be able to hear me. I'll do this in silence. So. Hands are always the best way to feel for dirt. Good. I'll come around and show this to you. Right, now it's done successfully, so we're going to trim it down. Need that. Let's on an inkjet you probably wouldn't waste the ink making a second one, but on my machine you know, you're just wasting paper if you don't make a second one, because it's 50 inches, so this is a 20-inch print, so you might as well put two on. Not going to make any difference, and you've got another one without having to image a second. Right, so we're going to cut this down now, and I'll do this probably speed it up because it's it'll be tedious to watch in the real time. But just to show you what I do, well, first of all we've got to make sure the specification is correct. So it should be 485 millimeters square. From here to here, 485, yep. I'll just check that again. Yep, 485. Now this is the specification needed to fit the frame. 485, excellent. That's good news. Now, the sensible thing will be to chop off the large piece first, and then we're going to now this one we're going across the lens, so it's like that, you see. Right, well, we've just cut the other side, so I wasn't going to bore you with that, but now we're going to go along the lens, which is potentially more tricky. And I usually just mark up just to be sure I'm in the groove, because you've got to get in the groove. I have to say, because I've been doing this a long time, I've probably evolved my own methods, which, because back in the time there was nobody there to tell me how to do it, so I largely found out my own way, but other people have other ways. But I think on the whole, and this is particularly relevant for kind of stick down lenticulars, if you're mounting them by I mean, if you're printing directly to the back of the print, this is quite a different ball game, and one day I'll show you how to do that. I'm not so keen on it myself because it's pretty disastrous if you make a mistake and the lens is wrecked and you can't salvage it. So, and those lenses are, you know, like $100 a shot plus transport. You don't really want to mess up unless you've got a really, and if you've got a big budget where you can do lots and lots of prints, then obviously you allow for a certain amount of setting up. But for one-offs, I try and be careful. Right, I've got a mark here. I'll just need to touch it up a bit. I'm just looking at the edge of the pitch bar. I can just see it. You see, I'm going to the edge of this. There, you need a little bit of space so that you don't actually cut the or crash into the straight edge. It's not there, incidentally, to keep you aligned. It's there to stop your lens, stop your blade from going into the image, which would be a catastrophe. Clearly, you'd have to start all over again. Right, ignore the man next door testing his microphone. So I've got a groove here. Yeah, this is slightly out actually. I'm just going to knock it a tiny bit in. But I want it to free ride through the groove. But always make sure you start off with a fresh blade when you're doing this. And you just do some gentle cuts first of all. See, it's not all about just making a nice print. There's a lot of extra stuff that has to be understood and learned, and this is really where the practice comes in. So we're just stroking it basically so we can bring that groove in deeper and deeper. And then as you do, you gradually increase the pressure. And of course, as the groove gets deeper, it's like a railway line, tram lines, sorry. See if that's any good. Yeah. It gets harder the closer you are to the edge. What we can do is we can then that down like so. This job is going to go in a frame. It's quite important, so sometimes they need a little bit of edge just to, if you need a perfect edge because you're going to have it edgeless, you've got to get it either routed or laser cut. There's no real clean way of doing it other than that. I'm just going to do this, but I won't film this one because it's boring. Right, here's the finished article. So actually it starts here. 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. You notice there's some release liner which I pull off just to check the print, but I'll put it back on. And I always work with the release liner on so that you don't scratch the lens. I hope that was interesting, and perhaps we'll do some more another day. Bye.